Well, Neil, it was a fight out there. Probably the hardest working 72 you've ever shot in your life. But it showed that you had a lot of fight in you. How do you summarize the day?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I fought at the end, but the start was really frustrating. I mean, I guess I was a little tight to begin, not physically, just like mentally tight. And I mean, I knew I needed a good round today, and I just kind of I just had some tight swings early. I mean, I hadn't made any putts for 3 days, and I was trying to find out how I could get it close to the hole or how I could get it closer to the hole. So then I just made some tight swings instead of just kind of hitting it, maybe into the center of the green and just see if something happens, And so I short-sighted myself, and then one horrible swing on the fifth hole led to a triple bogey. And there's just so much room up the left there, and I just completely wiped a 3-wood. So it was as bad of a start as you could ever think of, nightmare type stuff. And I tried my best to get back in it. From the seventh hole on, I played really good. But still, it was too little, too late, and it just came down to I needed, I needed to stop short-siding myself, because even today on the ninth hole, it was par 5. It was just like bad spot to be. I was short-sided in the greenside bunker, and you're not going to get that inside of 10 feet, and then it's a lot tougher to make an 18-footer, whereas you play it safe and you chip up there to 4 feet, 5 feet, you're going to make, just the percentages. I just kind of made it too hard on myself all week, and especially today, those last 12 holes after the bad start.
After 9, it didn't seem like you missed many opportunities for birdie out there. And it seemed that by the looks of those par putts you were making that you finally got a read on those greens.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I actually, the seventh hole I had a birdie putt, and it was one of my worst strokes it was one of my worst reads and one of my worst strokes. And I could just tell that I didn't trust my read I had, so then I just made a lazy, I stood up, kind of looked up basically.
Right.
So there was a little physical thing where I'm like, hey, okay, you got to keep your head down. You got to stay solid. So after that, I really did start to stroke it better. And then somehow the putts started falling. I think part of it was just kind of like necessity. Like I had to make something. So when I was reading the greens, it's like, stop doubting yourself of like, am I under-reading this? Am I over-reading this? Just pick the line and hit it, because I had to make some putts. And they did start to fall, which is just ironic.
Yeah.
It sounds easy to start telling yourself that, to pick one line and go for it. But, the first 3 days, I just couldn't trust that.
Well, even before 7, it looked like 1 and 3, and there was one other one early that
1, 3, and 4.
4,
yep.
Where and I think it was 1 and 3 where you didn't trust the break from right to left, and they curled under the hole.
Yeah, well,
And was it a pace thing or was it a read thing?
Yeah. So 1 and 3, I underread it. 1 and 3, they both took off right away, broke really hard, and then 4. Maybe because of those two, I ended up pushing it a bit, and I missed it on the high side, and then it curled around the back. So yeah, like all 3 of those putts were, almost identical. I shouldn't say identical, but they were right to left putts, and a righty loves that. I love those. It was just the doubt. Like even on the first hole, I was just thinking like, this is gonna be really fast, and it feels like it's gonna fall off to the left. Are you playing enough? And then sure enough, I kind of decelled into it, so it has less speed, and it really took off left. And I was like, oh, great, and then that led to a really tight swing on 2 where I short-sided myself. So yeah, it just was.
But then after you took your putt on 4, didn't take the gravity. It looked like Steve's did and fell in.
Steve's did, yeah, and his immediately. And we were talking about that later. We're talking about it on the backside because I could tell he was frustrated with the greens. And I said, I'm sorry, like, because he watched my putt and I pushed it. And then he got up and his did exactly what you'd expect it to do, but he took a little bit of my putt into consideration, and it was just like, so I kind of messed him up too. And that's the way it goes. Sometimes you just can't figure out the greens. Usually I do, after 2 rounds or something like that, and it just took until the last, took 65 holes or 63 holes basically for me to finally just be like, just pick that one line and go. But also, at that point it was totally, who cares if you miss in a sense, and then that weighs in those first 3 days. You start getting a little fearful of missing it or running it way by, and you don't have that when you're 4 over through 5 holes basically.
Right. You obviously have to wait 4 hours or 3 hours or however long for the last groups to finish to know exactly what this all means. Your gut probably tells you what it means.
Yep.
And what does it mean walking off the course, and what does it mean in the bigger picture for you, the way things went this week?
Thankfully I don't have to wait around. I mean, because since it's 20 in ties, you know, there's no playoff. You don't have to, I mean, even if you get through, they just
Right.
hand you a piece of paper. So I can leave. I can get on the road and start driving back to Phoenix. You know, but that's a 5-hour drive. So I, you know, 5 hours with me and my caddy, you know, it's like try and just kind of, you know, get over it as quick as possible. But it hurts. I mean, right now it hurts, you know, like, you know, the first round was so bad, put me in a really bad spot, but basically I spent the next 3 days fighting really, really hard, you know, and I'm proud of how I did come back. But I look back even at the second round, and it was a 69, and it was like, really, it felt like a ho-hum 66, you know.
Mhm.
And then if you just make, you know, and then if you just somehow get rolling, it would have been a 64, and you know, then even yesterday was a 70, which really felt more like a 67, 68, you know. So
Mhm.
it's like, that's kind of the way it went. I fought my butt off, but just was a couple shots short every day. And even the first day we talked about, if my 76 had been a 74, like how
Mhm.
much different that would have been going
Right.
forward. And I, you know, it's I don't like to play the woulda, shoulda, coulda game, you know,
Mhm.
but you know, it just inevitably kind of pops into your mind
Yeah.
of like, man, you know, if those putts had started falling earlier or something like that. So yeah, I get to leave right away, and I'll get back to Phoenix and relax this weekend.
What is the plan then for next year? How, did this obviously this dictated a lot of it, right?
Yeah, this did, and I didn't necessarily have any plans. I mean, I guess my main plan was to have web status in some way. So now I got nothing, and I'm back to kind of not quite square one, but it's kind of just the bottom of the line. Like I have no status anywhere. I have no membership. There's not a lot of great mini tours to play in Arizona, you know, for to make cash.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take a little time off and try and just get a sense of where I'd want to play. You know,
Mhm.
Canada, Latin America tour are options, but those are so expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really make money. But at
Mhm.
least those give you the opportunity to bypass this
Mhm.
this kind of gauntlet here. You know, but it's depressing right now. You know, it's pretty sad that it's like I got nothing. You know, I had a great year, I had 2 great years, 2016 and 2017. And I got nothing to show for it. I mean,
Right.
besides maybe some cash, no
Right.
status.
Right. And you look back on this year, because of how well you played in 2016, you did things that you go back to Hawaii? Was
Yep.
that this
Yeah.
year?
I started in Hawaii. I went to Puerto Rico. I went to Connecticut. I went to everywhere. I went to all kinds of Mondays. You know, for the first 6 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. You know, I was able to get that experience, and I thought that was going to set me up well
Mm-hmm.
for this kind of pressure a little bit. And then I started playing then some of the state opens and money tournaments after that, and you know, had a lot of success there, winning a couple times, and you know, was able to win some money. Where
Yeah.
all I was doing the first 6 months was spending money,
Right.
and then you know, from June on or July on, I ended up making, you know, a lot of money there. But like I said, it's just right now it's depressing to think like, okay, you know, I got very little. I mean, I know I'm a really good golfer, but I got nothing. I have no
Right.
I have no status. I have no club sponsorships. I have no clothing sponsorships. I'm wearing really, really faded blue. I don't know, like that's the actual color blue versus what it's faded, and it's just like I'm getting no balls, no shoes from company. You know, so it's like. So it hurts, you
Yeah.
know, and you get to this stage and that lines everything up.
Right.
I would be inside the circle where it's like, hey, send me some balls, send me some gloves, send me some
Right.
hats, I need some shoes. Oh yeah,
Yep.
sure, we'll take care of you. And now
Yep.
I'm on the outside looking in like I'm the
Yeah.
red-headed, you know, stepchild.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm a really good golfer. Like,
Yeah.
So a break will be much needed to kind of just regroup and
Right.
get a little bit of the sour taste out of my mouth, you know, and then see what my options are.
Sure.
Yeah, and what my heart wants to do, you know, really.
Sure. Well, you had your hole by hole nation on the edge of their seats there, especially in the back nine. They had it all figured out. You know,
I know.
9 through 14. They thought if you could
that's
get it back to even or 1 under, you might have an opportunity.
Yep. I actually thought about that, and you know, it's great to have the support like that. You know, I know like all week I felt it. You know, after the tough start, but then coming back too. You know, I could tell that they were pulling for me. I mean, all year too. It's crazy when I get texts from them or tweets from them. But I was doing that math too. You know, when I got on 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, okay, I already knew where the pins were. I'd kind of looked ahead. I'm like, you know, I can, if I can finally get the par 5s, which I had 3 of them, and if I can
Right.
get some of these other ones that had easier pins, you know, and then you steal one, all of a sudden that's 8 birdies or something like that in the last, you know,
Yep.
12 holes or whatever it would have been. I'm like, that's probably going to do it. That would have gotten me, or 9 birdies, so maybe was my math, you know.
Yeah.
And I was trying, and then I started thinking I can hole some shots, I can hit some wedges. Something miraculous can
Right.
happen, and I'm sure they were doing that in their head too. Like, come on,
Sure.
about time for a hole out or
Right.
some magical eagle, and
Yeah.
just never quite happened.
Well, hey, good luck. Enjoy the break, and hope to see you again in 2018.
18, yeah. Thanks.